got it. Okay. So that's your specialized gold. It is. So clarification of water in the sewer plant is report. Also, they could collapse with it, and they do different elements of
While they're still giving the tour down that wash.
Gotcha. And those things are even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, these weren't that good, no.
Nope.
At least that light is focused. You know, yours is focused.
Yeah, at least it gives you a beam.
Yeah, mine just kind of goes everywhere.
Yep.
But I guess you got used to it no matter what. Here, bring it over here. Let's look back in the chamber back here. The escape way. Shine it down that one. Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep. How many inches do I have sticking out of the... No.
You got about 2 inches.
So that's good. That's even a little high, but well, I can't believe this is what we used to use caving. Holy shit. Of course, the mine seems like it sucks up more light than a cave does because it's black.
It's black, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, we're dealing with tan and brown in the cave. And,
still throws a good amount of light though.
yeah, it does.
Lamp is that it's not very bright. What we have up here in the chamber also, another whale oil lamp being burnt. And what we also have here is first types of safety lamps that we use underground. Now, prior to safety lamps, let me go back a little bit. In coal mines, there's two very common gases you find. What's called fire damp, and that's methane gas. Methane gas is an explosive gas. And the other gas they find underground is what we call black damp, which is basically air that doesn't possess enough oxygen. And back in the early days of mining, miners actually brought canaries underground. They brought canaries in a cage underground. And the idea was that the canary, being a small bird, very small lung capacity, and breathing about 200 times faster than a human, could detect any slight changes in the air. Canary, you want to hear that canary singing all day underground. If the canary stopped singing, became agitated, or actually fell off their perch, the miners knew the air was bad. But the problem with the canary is you couldn't tell what kind of gas was present. So what eventually was invented was these safety lamps. Now this safety lamp is probably from about the 1880s, 1890s, and what this is designed to do is a test for those two gases. Now you might say, wait a minute, methane gas is explosive, it can be lit by a lamp like this. That's the problem. When you're working underground, if there was a pocket of methane gas in the roof, you step into it with a lamp like this, you ignite that methane, massive explosions. These lamps were designed to actually keep that from not happening. And the reason is simply this. This mesh screen right here, this metal mesh screen, allows air and gas in, but doesn't allow the flame out. So the idea here is this. When the miners would go in, they light this lamp, and they'd set it to the flame to a certain height. They would then take that lamp, if there was no methane, they'd hold it down at their feet, because that's where that black damp, or the air that didn't have enough oxygen in it, would actually form. And what they're looking to see is the flame do the opposite. Does the flame get less intense or actually go out? Now this is the original style. What the gentleman has behind you right here is a newer style, based upon the same premise. The only thing is you can't see the screen. The screen is up here in what's called the bonnet, but that still allows air in and gas in, but doesn't allow the flame back out. These were used right up until the 1970s as gas detectors. What we use nowadays are modern electronic detectors that beep and hum and do all that stuff. But a lot of miners still swear by those because there's not much that can go wrong with it. And if you were to lose, let's say you had the electronic detector on and you dropped it or it broke, that can still give you light where the electronic one can't. So a lot of miners still like those as a backup for detecting the gases. So again, what the gentleman has on his helmet right there is the next generation of light. They would go from this lamp up until about the 1880s. Then that's a carbide, what's called a carbide lamp. There's two chambers on that lamp. One, the top chamber holds water. The bottom chamber holds calcium carbide. And when the water drips on the calcium carbide, it produces acetylene gas, the same type of acetylene gas they use for welding. And then the gas comes out the little opening right there, and you ignite it, and you use that as your light source. Now, what's nice about that lamp, first of all, it's a cleaner burning lamp, and it also has a reflector, which now you can focus the lamp in a general area. This lamp, kind of light goes everywhere. It's not very well focused. So that they would have used that lamp from about the 1890s up until about the 1920s, and by that time Edison invented the lamps that we now use, the battery power packs that we see today. Again, they went through a whole different evolution. Even today, the ones that we use underground are still kind of like that because they're still battery packs, but we now run with LED lamps instead of the old filament style lamps. Any questions so far? Come on this way, I'll show you the rest. Now what we have here, a typical coal car that we use in a coal mine. This car in northeastern PA. This coal car actually came from a mine on the other side of the valley. It came from what's called a 179 slope. It would hold anywhere between 1 and 1 3/4 tons of coal. And what you see in here right now is what they call run-of-the-mine coal. This is coal that would have been mined, and it hasn't been sized, hasn't been cleaned, hasn't been processed. That's what would have been done with the breakers on the surface after the coal reached the surface. Now, the one fallacy about mining coal is that you use a pick and a shovel. No, you don't. You use explosives to get the coal out of the ground. And what we have here is a pattern that we would have used when we were actually working this mine. If you notice, there's 5 holes in that pattern: 2 across the top, 2 across the bottom, and 1 in the center. Now, with modern day blasting caps, those charges don't all go off at once. They're designed to go off in a series. And the first one that always goes off is that center hole. And what that's designed to do is create an opening for the coal to fall into. A split second later, the top 2 will go off, which drops the coal. Then a split second later, the bottom 2 go off and actually lift the coal up and throw it out in your chamber. Now, once it's out, then you can use your pick and shovel to either break it up into smaller pieces or load it in the coal car. What we use today is a modern blaster like this. This is actually a battery powered blaster. You simply charge it up. It runs on C-size batteries, but there's a huge capacitor in here, and you'll hear it as it winds up. You hear it kind of loading right now. And then once the light turns red, you flip the switch, sends electrical current down, and then detonate your charges. Prior to using this, you would have used these, the old Wile E. Coyote style plastic boxes, which jam that down, electrical current passes through there, detonate your charges. Now, prior to doing that, what they would have done is they actually use black powder. And with black powder, what they do is, come on up here, I'll show you. We're going to take it back in time to when this light was used, 1880s, 1890s. Men would have used what's called a breast auger, right, or a drill that you put that on your chest, and you simply either you or your partner turn that crank to drill a 6-foot hole in the coal face. Now, once you have that 6-foot hole drilled, what you're going to do is you're going to take this, it's called a spoon. Where's my spoon? It's a spoon, it's a little spoon. You put this in a hole, and you pull all that coal dust out that you made while you were drilling that hole. Once you had that done, what you're going to fill that full with now is black powder. Now, when you're done tapping, after you've done and filled that hole completely with black powder, what you're going to do is take what's called a needle, copper needle. You're going to put that in the hole, and you want to puncture that black powder container. Then what you're going to do is, while this is still in the hole, you're going to take all this fine coal dust that's on the ground, and you're going to pack it into that hole. The miners would buy all their own tools, and then the coal companies did not provide anything. And when you went underground, you brought your lunch and your drink down with you, always in a metal container. Why metal? Because the rats that were underground. Rats came underground with the mules that were underground, the food that came down from the mules. So you'd always have a metal container because the rats couldn't eat through it. Any questions so far, folks? Now, one of the things that we had to do, come on up here real quick. One of the things that we had to do to open this mine up to the public was put in a secondary escapeway. When this mine was built in 1902, there was only one way in and one way out. That's the way you walked in. And according to Pennsylvania State Mine Law, you have to have 2 openings. You ever heard of black lung disease? Black lung's bad, rock dust is even worse. This carbide lamp, a lot brighter. It actually looks almost like a regular light bulb, but that is an open flame that he has right there.
Yeah. But see the difference between this and nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays a modern lamp, yeah, a lot better with the modern lamps. Any questions, folks?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. 1840s, like 1880s. These are called whale oil lamp. Now we're not going to do whale. After a while, the eyes do get used to it. The problem with this lamp is that it is an open flame because there are very dangerous gases that you find in coal mines. One gas we call. If you were to walk in a pocket of methane gas and you didn't know it was there, these lamps like this could ignite it and could cause massive explosions. Now, from about the 1880s until about the 1920s, they use lamps like this gentleman has right here. That is coal. You can keep that. Right there is a lamp that they would have used from about the 1880s until about the 1930s. That's a carbide lamp. It actually causes a chemical reaction between water and calcium carbide, produces acetylene gas. You like the acetylene gas, and you get that beautiful flame. Still open flame. Still have to worry about that methane gas. But by the 1920s, Thomas Edison had invented the battery-powered packs that we still use today with the modern incandescent light bulbs that we still use today. Actually, we don't use incandescent light bulbs anymore. We use LED, and that's the style lamps that we would use in between this one and the modern day lamps.
How long was that one?
This one will burn about 2 hours. Every 2 hours, I have to fill the chamber right here with oil. I'm using straight kerosene. It runs about 2 hours before I have to refill it. And miners would they bring containers down filled with the oil, and they simply leave it in their chambers, and they fill it. They keep track of time, and if they saw the light going down, they know it's time to refill it. Those would last about 6 hours, a little bit longer.
Those are bright.
Yeah, those are bright. Again, it's pretty bright light for what it's doing.
Carson and this way, please.
Come on up this way, folks. Come on.
Okay, I'm going to head on out
Go
there.
ahead, bud. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That one was really bright. I like that.
Yeah, we have a couple of more examples of those.
That
here.
bright white from the chemical in there?
What's that?
The bright white from the chemical?
It's
Yeah.
actually acetylene gas. It's coming out of a little jet there, and yep.
It's a blaster. Now, folks, what you're standing in front of right now
I'll
is a
sneak
typical
past
coal
you.
car that would have been used in a small mine like this in northeast Virginia. This coal car would have held anywhere between 1 and 1/4 ton of coal. And what you see right here is what we call run-of-the-mine blaster. Uses simply seaside batteries. You charge it up. charge. You kind of hear it whining. What it's doing is it's running into a capacitor, holding that charge. Once the light goes on, you sort of roll a switch off, send the last turn,
Organic material. This might have been what we see as a 20-inch vein of coal might have one time been, 30 feet of detritus, rotting, decaying, plant life, and things like that. So that's all just compressed down under the growth of the Appalachian Mountains, because the fact that anthracite coal is only found here in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, in the entire United States, nowhere else. It is not found in any other state in this country. It is found in other countries. Only here, anthracite coal. The rest of the country is all bituminous or soft coal. That's the coal that we use to produce electricity. That is found in West Virginia, Kentucky, Western Pennsylvania, Ohio, as far out as Wyoming, where the largest bituminous reserves are. That is, go ahead, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm dying.
Sure.
So the soft coal is the stuff used to produce electricity and it kind of burns off. Anthracite, what do you use this for?
Primarily today, well, originally it was
did.
used, we used it for heating primarily. We still use it because of very clean, nothing burns clean except for natural
my next door
gas.
neighbor still has.
Yeah, it's a distant second. It's smokeless coal. There's no smoke from it. So that's a very, we should all be very proud of that. We're from the area.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So that's where the coal comes from. Again, we have the 7 different layers under enormous pressure, and then forms the anthracite coal. So it's smokeless coal. We used it in World War I and World War II in the warships for one reason. You couldn't see the smoke on the horizon. They couldn't see the smoke. The enemies could not see us coming. During the Civil War, they're marching north here. Why? To burn the anthracite coal mines. Stopped in Gettysburg. They're on the way to burn these. Why? Because this is the northern economy. This is where the nation's economy actually started. We're an agricultural nation at that point. We had brick makers. We had grist mills, we had small operations going on, wagon makers, things like that. But who was hiring hundreds of people? The coal mines were. We need hundreds of people to work down in these holes. So there's no electric lights in the mine. They're simply going to show you some of the techniques that they had in the day. Right here we have a safety lamp, right? This is what they use, a Davy safety lamp. This replaces the canary in the coal mines. Canary in the coal mines used to use up until about 1880s when they invented this Davy safety lamp over in Wales. They used to use the canary, hold them up in a pitch black because you couldn't take an open flame. He has also a carbide lamp on there. You cannot take these things into the mines because there's this is all organic material. A lot of times it releases methane gas, which is explosive. So you don't want to die in an explosion. So they bring the canary in the pitch black. They're going to hold him up in a cage and listen for him to either fall around it or fall right off his perch. That way you knew it was dangerous gas. You have to ventilate the mine. Same thing down low. So that's fire damp. Down below you have what's known as black damp. Carbon dioxide, water, nitrogen. Down there on the bottom. It's a low-lying column. Can't see it, can't smell it. Suffocating gas, lack of oxygen. The miners moving around, it would stir that gas up, get dizzy, fall over. Maybe in a dark chamber, no one find them. If you're lying down, you're finished. You're going to suffocate. A lot of times they'd fall over into pits of water. That water used to run down the side of the mines, and they would drown. So there's 100 different ways to die in a mine. So that's why you couldn't wear these open flames like this in the mines. That was not what they call permissible safety lamp, which is what that is. That is your permissible safety lamp.
So why is that permit, like, is it because it's enclosed?
It's sealed.
It's sealed.
Yes.
Yep.
Don't lose your coal. He's holding on to it.
Hold on to it tight.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, you have a good day.
Yep.
Thanks for visiting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so come on back. We're going to look at some more fossilization.
Oh,
Again.
cool.
They're bootlegging the coal at that.
like what